Webinar today. My esteemed faculty colleagues, staff, and students, good morning and thank you very much for being here. I would now like to hand over to Mr. Sagar to say a few words, please.
Once again, good morning, everyone. I'm extremely pleased to welcome Mr. Vineet Nair to the Dyanand Sagar Group of Institutions, Bangalore. I'm sure that his address to our students, staff, and faculty will be both insightful and enriching. The Dyanand Sagar Group of Institutions, with a legacy of 6 decades, believes in an ethos of education for all and is firmly committed to providing quality education in several areas. Mr. Nair is a leader in various spheres of life, and we are privileged to have him with us today. And once again, thank you, and please proceed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The great philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." That best describes our founder, Barrister Sri Dayanand Sagar, journalist, cinema aficionado, politician, philanthropist, and most of all, educationist, a visionary in whose honor we gather here under the aegis of the Sagar Centenary celebrations. Mr. Vineet Nair is founder chairman of Sampark Foundation and former vice chairman and CEO of HCL Technologies, and author of the highly acclaimed management bestseller, Employees First, Customers Second, Turning Conventional Management Upside Down, Harvard Business Press, June 2010. A management visionary and radical thinker, Mr. Nair led the transformation of HCL Technologies into one of India's fastest growing global information technology service companies under his leadership. And under his leadership, the company grew from a $0.7 billion organization in 2005 to a $4.7 billion organization in global technology service company with over 85,000 employees across 32 countries by the year 2013. This radical transformation led Fortune to recognize HCLT as the world's most modern management organization, while Business Week named HCL Technologies as one of the world's most influential companies. His innovative management practices at HCL Technologies were taught as a case study at both the Harvard Business School and the London Business School. Vineet Nair was chosen by Fortune magazine for its first ever global executive dream team and also found a place on the Elite Thinkers 50 list. His innovative and transformative ideas have received fulsome praise from influencers like the late C.K. Prahalad, Tom Peters, Gary Hamel, and Ram Charan. Mr. Nair quit Hindustan Computer Limited in 2013 to focus on Sampark Foundation, which he co-founded with his wife, Anupama Nair, to catalyze large-scale transformation in primary education through frugal innovation. Today, Sampark Foundation is improving learning outcomes among 10 million children studying in 84,000 government schools across 6 states in India. That is Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, at less than $1 per child per annum. This large-scale transformation is now a frugal innovation case study at Harvard Business School. Vineet Nair has been cited by Forbes in its Heroes of Philanthropy list 2016 and is also as a global thinker 2016, along with his wife, by Foreign Policy magazine for unplugging technology so kids can learn. Vineet joined HCL in 1985 after earning his MBA from the prestigious XLRI in Jamshedpur. In 1993, he founded Comnet, a technology startup where he developed and put to practice many of the ideas he later describes in his book, transforming it into a multi-billion-dollar business. In 2005, he became president, and in 2007, the CEO of HCL Technologies, where over the next 5 years, he spearheaded a remarkable turnaround. Vineet has also served as senior advisor to PricewaterhouseCoopers India, HCL Technologies, Crest Capital, McKinsey Leadership Institute, and many Fortune 1000 companies. He was on the advisory board of the Millions Learning Project, led by the ex-Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard, and has served as governor of ICT, member of the Global Advisory Board of Women Leadership and Gender Parity Program at the World Economic Forum. And as a member to multiple technology startups, he continues to follow his passion of turning conventional management wisdom upside down. I once again welcome Mr. Nair to this wonderful webinar under the Sagar Centenary Celebrations Esteemed Speaker Series, and invite him to share his thoughts on the art of unlocking your true potential. Over to Mr. Nair, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and privileged to be having an opportunity of talking to all of you. Thanks to a friend of mine, H.N. Shankar, who I guess you know well, associated with your university, who invited me to try and talk to you about on this topic. It is also a privilege because you are part of a fairly old institution, which has been built by a visionary himself. And he has demonstrated and lived a lot of traits which I'm going to talk about with you today. And therefore, you are part of an institution where you have a reference point on how you can potentially unlock your true potential and be awesome. Let me begin with telling you a story around, you would have traveled to Kerala and seen those elephants, those huge, large elephants tied with a rope to a small stick. And I'm sure you have wondered why those elephants don't run away by pulling away from the rope, which they can easily break, or the stick, which they can easily uproot. And the answer lies to what happened in the childhood in terms of when the elephants are small, they're tied with a rope and the stick. And over a period of time, they start believing that they cannot break the rope or break the stick. And therefore, they live the rest of their life with that assumption. So the first step to unlocking any potential is to break away from status quo. And if you do not question all the assumptions around your life, then you are like that thin rope tied to that stick, like a giant elephant. All of us are giant elephants. All of us are capable of significantly doing more than what we are doing right now. And the only problem is that we don't know ourselves, and we have these multiple ropes which are tying us. And therefore, in this session, we're going to talk about 4 ropes which potentially you should think about breaking loose so that you can unlock your potential. The journey of transformation can be well understood if you also look at a second example of when you hold 3 things: an egg, some coffee beans, and some potatoes in your hand. And you will very quickly come to a conclusion that egg is very soft, and therefore it is going to be breaking, and you cannot eat a raw egg, so therefore it is useless. Coffee beans in the raw form, once again, have no value for you, but the potato, potentially you can eat, and it is hard, and it is rough, and therefore it has significant amount of usage. But the moment you put all these 3 in through life, and through life is through boiling water, all 3 of them change their shape. The potato becomes soft, which was hard. The egg, which was soft, becomes hard. And coffee beans suddenly change their form and become drinkable and with high aroma. So therefore, what was potentially useless from an egg and a coffee point of view become very useful. and what was very useful has suddenly become very soft. That is the truth of life. The truth of life is not what you are. The truth of life is what will become of you when you are put through the cycles of life, which is hot water. And therefore, when you look at, especially the young people in college today, when you look at your colleagues and when you say he's very smart or he's very intelligent or he's very this, trust me, tell yourself that that is not going to be relevant when some hot water is poured, because what happens to all of them after hot water is poured is the true truth of life. And that has got to be nothing about what they're really doing in the university. So therefore, the opportunity for you to transform yourself, change the form of yourself, not just starts with the journey of breaking the ropes in your life, but also believing that your shape, size, form, and utility for the world is dramatically going to change as you travel through life. And therefore, your current shape, size, utility, intellect is not going to remain the same as what it is today, and it is going to dramatically change. So the journey of transformation begins now. And the journey of transformation will radically change you completely to what you are not today. So that brings us to the question in terms of what do we want from life? Now, there are many answers to that question, and we do not have enough time in this webinar to talk about that. But one common factor which results into significant amount of satisfaction is doing the best you can with yourself. And so therefore, the question for all of us, and especially all the professors who are teaching you, who are trying to get you to be the best version of yourself, is the question, how do you do that? For that, we have to go through some theoretical framework to understand the contour on which you should be thinking about transforming yourselves, or your professor should be thinking about how they can enable and help you transform yourself. And that is the definition of high performance. Why do some people do high performance? They are CEOs, they are revolutionary leaders like Bhagat Singh or Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela, or all these guys. And why do 99.9999% people fail to be anybody of significance? So what is the truth around high performance? How are these people able to get the best version of themselves out there and therefore leave a mark in the world, whereas many others are unable to unlock their true potential? And that answer is in terms of what makes high performance individuals. So high performance individuals are those who do stuff which others consider impossible. So let me repeat that. High performance individuals are those who do stuff others consider impossible. So even your founder, when he set up this institute, and you go back 6 decades, or you go back many decades, and you say, was it reasonable to try and set up this institute, or was it a person who was trying to do something which others were not doing? And same is true with Gandhi or Nelson Mandela, or even Mark Zuckerberg, or there are so many other heroes around there. Anybody you notice, or MS Dhoni, or the first person who did a backflip and broke the world record on high jumps, all these guys have achieved significant success in life by not treading an ordinary life, but doing something which others consider impossible. Now, the only way for you to do something which others consider impossible is to attempt the impossible every single day. So unless you train your mind to think impossible, to attempt impossible, to break the ropes which you are saying, to believe in the transformation that every single person is going to transform, you would not be able to get into that zone of high performance, which is doing the impossible by attempting the impossible. Now, how do you achieve this impossible? Because high performance is the mantra to be able to unlock value. And where do you get life lessons of how should I do that? Because the theoretical framework is absolutely correct, but the practical framework is very And I would like to share those stories with you. So the first is that the true value resides outside the boundaries of logic and reason. So when a magician cuts a body into half or banishes a Taj Mahal, it is outside your boundaries of logic and reason, and therefore you call it impossible. Wow, that's magic. It is impossible. Whereas for the magician, it is within the boundaries of logic and reason and very, very possible. And therefore, the ability to be able to think outside the boundaries of logic and reason is very, very critical. So there was an instance when we were moving from, I see there is a recording in progress. I'll appreciate if the recording is stopped. I would not like the session to be recorded. I'd like it to be one to